So you want to get into real estate wholesaling, but you don't know what market to do or even where to start. So there's this thing called virtual real estate wholesaling, and then there's traditional wholesaling. At the end of the day, you probably just want to get your name on settlement statements like this. These are the legal contracts that you get when you close deals. This is what it's all about, right? And I got to tell you, wholesaling, they're not treated equal, okay? So what does that mean? It means the traditional method of real estate wholesaling, which is I want to buy low and sell high. I want to put a property under contract for, let's say, if it's worth $100,000, I want to put it under contract for maybe $70,000, and then I want to flip that to a cash buyer for, say, $80,000, making that $10,000 profit in the middle, and then passing that $20,000 in equity over to the end buyer so they can do whatever they want with it. Rent it out, maybe do a little minor flip, all depends. A lot of times, if you're brand new to this business and you are trying to wrap your mind around where do I start, I'm going to give you a little suggestion. Go where the money is. Go virtual. So I'm going to give you just a few steps for exactly, if you follow these steps, just these 4 steps, you will be able to virtually wholesale your first property within, it's possible to do it in 30, 45 days. I did mine in 17 days. Actually, as a matter of fact, while I was on vacation in Costa Rica. So again, if you don't know me, again, my name is Justin Wilmot. I've flipped well over 450 properties, got my name on a lot of these beautiful things right here. These are called settlement statements, and we get them on a regular basis. You kind of want stacks of them. That's the whole point. You want stacks and stacks. And at the end of the day, I'm known as the 10-hour wholesaler. That means we flip on average 10 deals a month, working 10 hours a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. But more importantly, what I've been focused on lately is helping people such as yourself do the same thing and live what we call the 10-hour lifestyle. So we build some systems to do that. And I'm just here to give you a few, or actually 4 tips that will help you accomplish what we call living that 10-hour lifestyle, right? Doing consistent deals. But here's the most important part that nobody seems to talk about. Having the time and the freedom to enjoy the fruits of whatever those deals provide. So I got my start wholesaling houses the traditional way, which we'll talk about in a moment. And then I kind of bought into like the Hollywood and guru dream. What do I mean by that? I mean that I thought that fix and flips were the route to go. Like a successful real estate investor was actually when you were buying the property, taking it down, renovating the property, whether it's a full rebuild or minor stuff, developing properties, building from ground up, and then putting it back on the market. And that's the pinnacle of success, I thought, because that's what it was on all the flipping TV shows. And I ended up doing my own little time doing that as well with TV. And at the end of the day, it was a nightmare. And so I found myself working 7 days a week, 20-hour days, and I very quickly stopped that business model and went back into this thing called virtual wholesaling. And that is step number 1, okay? That leads me to step number 1. What is virtual wholesaling? It is going where the money is. So the first thing you want to do to become a successful virtual real estate wholesaler is go where there's low-hanging fruit. What is that, Justin? Simply this. Where are all the smart landlords? That's right, landlords, people who buy properties and rent them out for cash flow. Where are they currently buying properties at or even below the average median of a single family home in America, which at the time of this video right now is somewhere hovering around $300,000. Well, what markets are blue-collar markets that are good neighborhoods, safe, have good schools, good climate, but most importantly, a net migration increase, where additionally other companies are maybe building, like Amazon building a factory or whatever and expanding. Those are the markets that are low-hanging fruit. They are the easiest places for you to go. You do not need to know absolutely anything about them except for the name of the market. Why? Because in other videos, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to use some really cool free tools such as AI and even ChatGPT on how to find and identify these markets. So step number 1 of virtual real estate wholesaling is picking a market that's low-hanging fruit, that has a net migration with an average median 3-bedroom, 2-bath sale price at around $350 or below, where there's corporations. Now, I'll just give you a few markets right now. The whole southeast of the United States is great. Texas, even up in Ohio, some in Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia, Tennessee. And that's just to name a few. You have some other great places like in Boise, Idaho. And those markets are all low-hanging fruit because they have corporations that are growing, net migration income, lots of landlords, cash activity, buying in those markets. So just kind of follow the process here. So step 1 of 4 is simply just knowing where to go. And you can literally ask ChatGPT just that. With a very simple prompt, you can use AI in order to help you find your very first target market. Now, before I move on to step number 2, I want to say this. Whenever you choose a market, you stick to it. Because I'll tell you right now, I've been flipping houses for almost 2 decades. I've been flipping houses since I was a kid. There is no market that is a yellow brick road or the Goldilocks market where everything is just infinitely easier. Every market is different and has its own things about it. The key to becoming an absolute crusher and consistently doing deals in that market is getting to know that market. And so the only way you could do that is through consistently showing up and working that market. So what does that mean? It means it leads us to step number 2, building your buyers list. You see, I find this really interesting that there's a debate in the industry against other real estate investors and educators and gurus and I call ourselves owner-operators. So those of us that flip houses and then teach people how to do it our way. There is some sort of 2 schools of thought. Do you go after the seller, the property first, and then go out there and try to frantically find a buyer and hope that you can do that so you can fulfill on your promise to the seller, which is to buy and sell that property on the closing date? Or do you find your cash first? Imagine a world where all you had to do is go shop for clients that have suitcases full of cash. Imagine having clients that said, say, 5 of them, that tell you exactly what they want, the exact location, the exact neighborhood that they want a property in, the price range, the construction material, and then you simply go after just that. That's the world that you want to live in once you've accomplished number 1, which is just choosing a virtual market and just kind of planting your white flag in that ground saying, this is my market. Step number 2 is building a list of at least 5 landlord cash buyers. That's right, landlord cash buyers. You see, us fix and flippers, I say us because I still fix and flip properties. If something has a big profit potential, 6 figures or more, I'll fix and flip it. So us fix and flippers, we are not your ideal client as a real estate wholesaler. I, as a real estate wholesaler, do not want to wholesale or do business wholesaling houses to fix and flippers. It will happen when I get a great, highly distressed, highly motivated seller that I can get a lot of equity with, then it works. But I don't like to work that hard. I like to work smarter, not harder. And so the world of me being able to put properties under contract as a real estate wholesaler at a price that can beat all of my competitors because I wholesale properties to landlord cash buyers is an absolute game changer. Justin, why are you telling me your secrets? Because the truth is, I tell people this and most of them don't end up doing it. So I don't really end up creating that much competition for myself. So hopefully I teach you something here in this very simple blueprint to virtually wholesaling your first virtual wholesale deal. But I have no problem telling you this, and I just want to help you. And by the way, if this is helpful information, please subscribe. Please hit the like button and comment. Let me know your thoughts about this virtual blueprint model. Okay, so back to the training. So once you have your target market, once you now know that your marching orders are to go get 5 landlord cash buyers, you might be asking, okay, great. What's a landlord cash buyer, Justin? Okay, well, a landlord is simply this. Anybody, so that could be entity or non-entity. What does that mean? It means John Smith or Big John Capital Buyers LLC. Doesn't matter. okay, that owns 2 or more properties, rental properties, in a specific neighborhood with no debt, and they are out of state, right? Or I'm sorry, out of, like, they don't live, in the property. It's a rental property, okay? So you start with people that have bought in properties, okay, at least two within the last 24 months. That is my criteria of what a landlord cash buyer is, and I want 5 of them, all right? I just made 10, okay? I want 5 of them, all right? Now, once I have 5 landlord cash buyers, what's the next step, okay? I go shopping. Step number 3 is simply going out there and doing some very intelligent target marketing for the exact inventory, the exact type of deals that those real estate landlords want. So let's put this in context. Let's say where you have chosen Orlando, Florida, and 3 of my landlords all buy in a community called Pine Hills. Happens to be one of my markets. I've done plenty of deals there. Let's just say I have 3 buyers. I call that consistency, right? Like, anybody would call it consistency, but it's consistent. I got a lot of buying power now. 3 buyers. One of my buyers has, maybe $1.5 million to spend this year. Maybe my other buyer has about $7 million to spend this year. And maybe I have a big buyer, like a small micro hedge fund that buys throughout Florida, but loves this area called Pine Hills as well. And they have $50 million to spend this year. Okay, so add that all up. I got like I got like almost $16 million in buying power. So now I know exactly what I want. And so when I move on to step 3 of virtual wholesaling, it's like I have this purchasing order, hyper-focused, no confusion, no overwhelm, no uncertainty. I know exactly what type of product I need to go get. But more importantly, this is what the gurus and the people do not tell you. You have the confidence because you have the cash. You see, the majority of real estate wholesaling is your ability to put deals under contract. Okay? You have to be able to put deals under contract. And whether that's through texting or through email or through phone, which it is 9 times out of 10, then that's just the main core. And I noticed that for most new real estate wholesalers, or newer, which is probably why you're watching this video, they lack this thing, of course I'm being ambiguous, called confidence. But the only reason they lack that is because when you present yourself to a seller in step 3 as, "Hi, Mrs. Smith, I see that you have a property in Pine Hills that is 90 days or 180 days behind in its mortgage. I have a question for you. Are you interested in selling? Because I am a cash buyer." That's the script. Like, if on step 3, your goal is to find one of many different types of motivated sellers and say some variation of the words that is gave you. And then when you do that enough, some are going to say yes, most will say no. But the ones that say yes, now all of a sudden you get into this negotiation thing, and you're not making money, right, until you get your name on a contract. You're paid until you put your name on a contract. And to get your name on a contract, you have to be able to build rapport. And part of being able to build rapport is to get homeowners to like you and trust you. You've heard the old adage before, people do business with people they like and trust, and it is unbelievably true. So what I recommend is, in order to build rapport, is you have real, authentic confidence. And how are you going to have confidence? Because when you now go to approach the seller, you know for sure that you have $60 million of partnership money to perform on purchasing that property. Now, why did I say the word partnership? Because my end buyers are partners. You see, I've been flipping houses for 20 years, and the truth is, when I put properties under contract, whether that's directly from a bank, whether it's directly from a hedge fund, whether it's directly from a homeowner, or whether it's from a wholesaler, my offer is the same. And I make my decision 5 times out of 10 of what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to wholesale that house or buy it, renovate and take it down and renovate it and put it on the market somewhere during the already closed process. And now we're figuring out what we're going to do. The point is that you can now confidently approach people because you know your exit strategy is to put under contract and sell that contract to what represents that $60 million of cash. So I have a question for you. Would you rather be going after sellers and saying all these things and having no clue what neighborhood, no clue if you'll be able to sell the property that you get under contract, no clue if anybody's going to want it, nervous that if you do put under contract, you're going to put under contract for the wrong price or not, too high, too low, too little? Or would you like to literally remove all of that uncertainty and chaos of what if I put the wrong property under contract? I'm going to say it again. What if I put the wrong property under contract and remove that with a snap of your fingers? By simply doing it my way. Working with the buyers first, so now you know exactly what to go after for seller leads, and now you have the confidence that will ultimately convert into getting a contract. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. You're not making money as a real estate wholesaler, buying low and selling high without getting something of value. And that something of value is called a signed contract. And without this signed contract, you have nothing to market and sell to a buyer for a profit to get your name on a settlement statement like this. Okay? Step number 4, closing time, baby. Once you've done one and chosen a market, done number 2 and found yourself a bunch of good buyers and they said this is exactly what I want. Step number 3, you went out and found exactly what they want. You put it under contract. Now it's time to open escrow and fulfill the closing process. Big tip here in virtual real estate wholesaling. You ready? You must, and this is undebatable, you must work with the number 1 or number 2, worst case number 3, most real estate investor or wholesale-friendly title company. I've recently heard some people be like, oh, I hate those words and those terms. What else does there say? A wholesale-friendly title company is the following. A title company or a title attorney, right? Such as like these guys, if you're working in Florida, these guys are great, right? Or a title attorney that does wholesale transactions. What does that mean and why does that matter? Because a wholesale deal, whether you're assigning it or whether you're doing a simultaneous closing or a double closing, or whether you're going to raise or use transactional funding or creative deals that most, and I mean most, if there's 100 title companies in your target market, only like 5 of them will be investor friendly and wholesale friendly. And point number 2, depends on state and counties, so you have to check with your own local real estate laws. But in markets where you can do simultaneous or double closings, only a small amount of these title companies are actually insured to do that. So if you speak to the wrong title company, which is in step number 4, find and build rapport with the number 1 investor or wholesale friendly title company in that market. Okay. When you do that, the entire transaction will go 10 times smoother and even can be much more profitable. Going outside of those 3 people will create confusion and pop your, let's say, eagerness bubble. Because 8 out of 10 of them are going to say, you can't do wholesale deals, or we can't do simultaneous closings or double closings. And they're correct. They can't, because they're not insured to do it and they don't have the skills to do it. But if you speak to the right title company or title attorney, it's like, this is what we do. We work with investors on a daily basis. Boom. Now, I'm going to say having a good title company is as important as, I don't know, peanut butter is to jelly, peas are to a pod. I mean, the truth is they are the glue that keeps the deals together. So step number 4 is asking other local real estate wholesalers, who are you using to wholesale your properties and close your deals? And that, my friend, is your 4 simple steps to virtually wholesaling your very first deal. I prefer this method much over domestic or traditional real estate wholesaling, which is what? I live in a county that's got 250,000 people, and this must be where I need to do deals because I have to go drive to the house. I have to knock on the door. I have to go meet the seller and bring all this paperwork and drive from house to house to house to house with people that say, yeah, they're interested in meeting me, and bring these big manila files and I have to know the market. I have to touch the property. I have to be able to look at it to see the condition of it. These are all complete false beliefs and fallacies. The truth is you will do more deals and make more money by forcing yourself to not even being able to do any of those things. Be able to go to the property, drive around, look at it, and talk to the sellers, and waste your time going from house to house to house to see if they want to sell you a property. Instead, you can do it all through your laptop and through your phone and through text messaging. It's a lot easier and it's a lot more profitable. But most importantly, it provides you that 10-hour lifestyle that we were talking about, which is where you can live like your vacation lifestyle, where you can be closing deals while you're at the sandbar on the boat, or hanging out with the kids, or going to your kids' soccer practice, or hanging out with your spouse, or on a date night. You can be having your business being done for you when you're virtually wholesaling. That does not mean you don't wholesale a house domestically. Of course you can, right? If you're a neighbor, right, and you've been living for 10 years, and you know that your neighbor is going to want to sell their property soon at a discount, of course you would pursue it, and you can use very similar steps to what I just talked about, okay? Or even fix and flips and lots of other ways. But to do your very first virtual wholesale deal, which I wholeheartedly believe after 20 years of doing this and being in this business is the easiest way to do real estate, then that's what I'd recommend. So that is your quick 4-step blueprint to doing your very first virtual wholesale deal. All right. And again, if you appreciated that, or if this was helpful, like and subscribe. And please, I look forward to seeing you on the next video. I'm just here to provide value to you. One love.